And welcome to Rio de Janeiro as the FIVB presents the 29th World League Finals. First up, world number one and nine-time champion Brazil takes on France from Rio. Inside of Maracanazinho, which in a little more than a year from now will be the host venue of the indoor volleyball competition. Opening ceremonies in Rio de Janeiro for the 2016 Olympic Games will be on August 5th. The first volleyball match will take place the very next day on August 6th. Paul Sunderland with you once again for my 11th World League Finals. And we kick things off, as I mentioned, with Brazil taking on France in an interesting matchup. A rematch, actually, of the last World Championship semifinals. These two teams know one another very well. Their 21st meeting overall at the World League, and Brazil has dominated, winning 16 of those 20 matches previously. France, a pretty good history in the World League, but not of late. 10th in 2013 and 2014. Their best finish ever was a second in 2006 when they lost to Brazil in Moscow. As far as the match schedule is concerned, Brazil and France first up will be followed by Serbia and Italy. On day two, it will be the defending champions from the United States taking on Brazil, Italy taking on Poland, and then in day three, it'll be the USA versus France, Serbia versus Poland. Those are the 3 days of the preliminary round competition as we take a look at the starting seven, if you will, for France. Currently ranked 12th in the world, excuse me, and coming off a very interesting run through Group 2. They won all 12 of their Group 2 matches, albeit against, for them anyway, inferior competition, and then they swept aside Argentina and Bulgaria to win Group 2 and advance to the finals, and a lot of very familiar names for Brazil as well. 5 players, however, only back from the London Olympic Games, 9 back from the World Championships this last October, where Brazil finished in second place. The 29th appearance overall in the World League. For Brazil, the only other team is Italy to have competed in every edition of the tournament. They have the most wins with 9, and they won 7 out of 8 from 2003 to 2010. They were second last year to the United States in Florence, and 3 times they have finished second since winning their last title in 2010. Also, you remember, won the silver medal when they lost to the United States in the finals in Beijing, and after leading 2-0, succumbed to Russia and won the silver medal at the London Olympic Games. Brazil currently ranked number 1 in the world, and playing at home is a real treat and a real advantage for them, and have to develop a comfort level, of course, because this is the building where they will host the Olympic Games in 2016. The team's about to take center court here at Maracanazinho as the crowd continues to fill in. Early start here in Brazil, 2 o'clock local time. The second match is scheduled to start 30 minutes after the conclusion of this. Once again, that is Serbia and Italy. The teams at center court will have the playing of the national anthems, and then we'll start things off. Remember, $1 million first prize to the winner of this 6-team tournament. Well, there you have the playing of the national anthems. First for France, again currently ranked number 12 in the world, taking on the hosts from Brazil, the traditional exchange of gifts. There is Murilo now, 33 years of age, two-time Olympian, two-time silver medalist, and coming back from a very serious shoulder injury. And he was not 100%. He was not even 50% at the World Championships. And I spoke with Brazil's head coach, Bernardo Rezende, and he said that Murilo, who is vitally important to Brazil, is coming along and still with another year to go. Hopes for him, of course, to be 100% by the time of the Olympic Games. The two groups, three-team pools, Brazil, France, and the United States, and in the other group, Italy, Poland, and Serbia. And the top two teams in each group will advance to the semifinals played on Saturday, and then the bronze medal and gold medal games will be played on Sunday. Now the introduction of the officials. The first referee, Mr. Nasser Shaban from Egypt on your left, and the second referee will be Mr. Shin Makoranaka from Japan. There will also, of course, be the challenge referee. Hernan Casamiquela will be the challenge referee for today's match from Argentina. There is Miguel Angel Quintana, the president of the organizing committee and the board of governance for the World League, and he's saying, yep, let's get going. And we are certainly looking forward to doing exactly that. The United States, again, the defending champions. They will take on Brazil tomorrow. We'll look at the starting lineups. First for France, Benjamin Toniutti, the captain, I think one of the best setters now in the world. Irvan Ngapeth was one of the leading scorers at the last World Championships. As a matter of fact, he was the number 4 scorer. Antonin Roussier, who plays at the diagonal or opposite position, wearing number 4 in blue. Very, very important indeed. And as we take now a look at the starting lineup for Brazil, Lucas Sakamp, Bruno Rezende will be the captain and the starting setter. Murilo Andres will be at one outside hitting position. Isaac Santos, a new player, just 24 years of age, wearing number 2, will be at the other middle blocking position. Wallace de Sousa will be at the opposite, and there is Bernardo Rezende. Now it is 15th year as the head coach for Brazil, 55 years of age, and I think he should go down as the greatest coach in the history of the men's game. 3-time world champion, 8-time World League champion, 2-time World Cup champion, and 2 Olympic silver medals, along with an Olympic gold medal in 2004, as Benjamin Toniutti will go back to serve for France. They will start things off, best 3 out of 5 sets. First 4 sets to 25 points, must win by 2. And if need be, a 5th set tiebreaker. And again, it has been a very busy 10 days for France. They just completed the Group 2 World League tournament in Varna, Bulgaria on Saturday, and then flew immediately to Brazil. And out of the middle, and Isaac Santos with the first point of this opening match for Brazil. Just to finish the thought on France, they played Bulgaria, won easily in Varna, 3-0. Got on an airplane, flew all the way to Rio, and were missing their luggage. And I was speaking with their head coach, Laurent Tilly, one of the all-time great players, 2 straight points for Isaac Santos. Just to finish the thought, I was speaking with the French head coach, Laurent Tilly, and he said, hey, look, Paul, we just got our uniforms last night, and all of us just finally got our bags this morning. So now they're just settling in and a little more comfortable. Here is Bruno with a serve down the line and missed it just wide. Bruno now 29 years of age, 1 meter 90 centimeters, or 6'3", 2-time Olympian. Oh, that was very close, and certainly one of the top setters in the world today. That looked like that ball was down, and a very clever ace for Irvan Ngapeth for France. Again, these two teams are very familiar with one another, playing for the 21st time in the World League. But most importantly, they played in October at the semifinals of the World Championships. That match was won relatively easily by Brazil as Ngapeth misses that serve out of bounds. Evandro Guerra Another new player, a new face, not new, 29 years of age, but really deep professional league for Brazil. So adding some experience. And here is Murilo. Easy jump float. And the coach's son, Tilly, off the block and out of bounds, dug by Bruno. That ball could have been called. And a nice turn, good wrist away in transition that time by Evandro Guerra. Brazil leading 4-2 as Murilo will go back once again and continue serving for Brazil. Working on Ngapeth. Bruno with his second early dig. That ball spun up, kept in play. That time by Lucarelli. And Tilly finding a hole in the block. France in transition once again, and that ball put away by number 10, Kevin Larue. One of the veterans, 11 players back for France from the World Championships. And a real story. Sergio Santos, now 39 years of age. I think the world's best all-time libero since that position was brought into the game some 20 years ago. And he is now back in the lineup for Brazil. And that ball served just out of bounds once again. A lot of service errors you're going to see during the course of this tournament. Serving tough, serving really hard is a critical part of the men's game right now, but an awful lot of errors being dialed up as well. Just underway, first match of day one. Thanks for joining us. Good blocking by Brazil. And scrambling defensively, and Bruno there for his third dig, but couldn't control this one. So Tilly able to put that ball away. So point possession. We've got a battle between a couple of wonderful liberos. That's Genia Grabenikov for France, and I think that he is one of the very, very best. He was number one in digs at the last World Championships. Here's Roussier. Perfect pass, and that ball put away once again by the recently married number 16, Lucas Satkamp. He's become a bigger and bigger part of the offense for Brazil through the last couple of years, and why not? Very versatile, very talented. Evandro back to serve. And Ngapeth sprays that ball out of bounds on the back row. Quick combination, the unforced error for France. And Brazil goes out to the early lead, 7-4. We'll have a technical timeout in each set when a team reaches 8, when another team reaches 16. Also, both teams have 2 dedicated timeouts, and we'll be using the challenge system. Each team has 2 challenges as well. Evandro. Roussier down the line that time away from Sergio. Very good offense once again, and he is the key. Carries a really big load for France and has to be really successful. Antonin Roussier, now 28 years of age, 2 meters 1 centimeter, 6'7" if you use that system. Both teams passing the ball very well. Good swing high up into the block. Mishandled ball for the second straight play. Lucarelli keeping that ball alive, but ruled just out of bounds. And the linesman called the ball out of bounds, but the first referee, and it was right in front of him, overruled. So Nasser Shaban making the call, and pretty easy one right in front of the first referee. And so the teams will head to the sideline. First technical timeout, opening set, with Brazil leading 8-5. Boy, another look at that play. Lucarelli, number 18. Let's see the end of this play. Ball kept alive. Can we see the line on this particular view? No, you won't get a good look. Yeah, Murilo telling his head coach that they wanted to challenge, but it wasn't necessary as the first referee had that call right in front of him. There's a look. Nasser Shaban looking down at the linesman and then looking to make sure, but he overruled and made the right call. Talking about the challenge system, there's a camera on every line and on the center line and on the net. And what can be challenged is foot fault from the service line, foot fault from the 3-meter line, center line foot fault, net touch, touch off the block, and of course balls in and out. Ricardo Lucarelli back to serve. Brazil with the early lead. Roundhouse near slammed. Oh, that ball. I told you that Lucas Satkamp was becoming more of the offense. And through the years, Brazil has really worked on ways of getting him more involved. And look at that. Wow, talk about a wrist away and absolutely straight down. If you're wondering where Sidao is, the bookend middle blocker who usually plays opposite Lucas, he's recovering from some nerve damage in his arm. And he will not be available in this tournament and has not played throughout the course of the summer. And yet another service error, this time by Ricardo Lucarelli, now 23 years of age, been on the scene for a while, played in the World Championships, and looking forward to his first Olympic Games. Off the block and out of bounds. Did it touch the Brazilian player as it went by? And we're going to have officially our first challenge here, called by Laurent Tilly. But that's not something that can, I gave you the list of elements that can be challenged. Foot fault on the service line, foot fault on the 3-meter line, center line, touch on the block, not touch. Now watch as the ball goes off Evandro. Very, very close indeed. Yeah, it got him. Yep, it got him, but that's not one of the elements that can currently be challenged. This ball should belong to France, but that was, as we call it, a real bang, bang play. The challenge system is still new, and two expert coaches in this particular match, and they're still not completely conversant with what can and cannot be challenged. It's still evolving, and I think Laurent Tilly, he's upset right now, and has every reason to be, if you will. But as the way the rules are particularly structured as we speak, the play that just occurred is not something that is challengeable. Murillo high off the block. Still not there offensively. Roussier blocked straight down by Isaac Santos. This is what opposites have to do. When you're out of system, when you're swinging at balls, when you know the defense and the block has a great idea of exactly where you're going, that's when you have to be able to step up, bring the goods, and put the ball away. Good block by Brazil, but that's what Roussier needs to provide. Back row, quick combination. What a block that time by Brazil. Isaac and Evandro reading the back row quick combination very, very well, and I thought so. With a 12-7 advantage for Brazil, we have got a first team timeout called by France. Once again, the opening day here in Rio. Thank you so much for joining us on behalf of the FIVB at Maracanazinho. It will be the host venue for the 2016 Olympic volleyball competition. Seats 11,800 people, originally built in 1954, was completely retooled and remodeled in 2003 and 2004. Opening ceremonies again for the Rio Olympics August 5th. First volleyball match will be August 6th. Roussier stuffed again. Boy, a really good start for Brazil. and adding some size and a little more blocking strength. I'll tell you, France has got to be a little bit smarter here. You've got Evandro and Isaac working together, coming out, blocking the right side for Brazil. I think if you're France, you got to go after Murillo, and they do so there. Murillo up front is the much smaller blocker, wearing number 8 in the gold uniform. He's only 1.90 or 6'3". And you can't continually swing at this big, big block of Brazil. Brazil was undersized some years ago, but no longer. Ace serve by Ngapeth. So now it is 13-9 in the opening set. Yeah, that is a beautiful serve, and Sergio immediately acknowledged that that ball was good. Ngapeth again. Good cut by Evandro, dug by Grabinikov. And that ball, you see Murillo, this is really clever play. Murillo pulls his hands down because he knows players like to try to hit high flat off of him. But Tilly, after the dig by Grabinikov, watch at the block. Watch number 8 in gold. He's going to pull his hands down, thinking that Tilly is going to go high flat and try to hit it off his hands. But a very good read by the coach's son puts that ball away, and a nice 3-0 run for France to get back in this opening set as Brazil takes their first timeout. Good adjustment by France and their outstanding setter and captain Benjamin Toniutti to go after Murillo when he is up front. And then when Ricardo Lucarelli is up front, when Bruno is blocking in the front court, that's where France needs to go offensively. Ngapeth again coming out of the timeout and misses that one long. Irvin Ngapeth, I think, has established himself as one of the top players in the world. He was the number 4 scorer at the World Championships. Plays professionally in Modena. Here is Murillo. Lucarelli through the block and down. But I'll tell you, really good blocking read on the first attack by Isaac Santos. There's the dig once again by Sergio, and good in transition. Where does this ball go? That's just a good high flat shot that Ngapeth, it finds a small seam in the block between Leroux and Roussier, and then Ngapeth unable to make the dig in the back court. Comfortable lead for Brazil in the opening set. And Sergio getting a little medical attention there. Might have had a collision with one of his teammates. The only libero ever to be voted the most valuable player at the World League Finals. That was in Serbia back in 2009. Here is Murillo again. Good touch out of the middle again by Isaac. That is a phenomenal play by a new, relatively young middle blocker, Isaac Santos. I mentioned before that he'd done a very good job blocking against Kevin Leroux, but this time to take Brazil to the second technical timeout of the opening set, leading 16-10. Not only does he get his hands on the initial attack by Leroux, but also gets back in to convert for the score. Outstanding play by number 2, the middle blocker for Brazil. France is on a 14-match winning streak. They won all 12 matches of the Intercontinental round. In Group B, after they had finished 10th the last couple of years in the World League, they were relegated. But it was a relatively easy group. Again, they were 12-0 against the likes of Japan, the Czech Republic, and South Korea. Not exactly world beaters in today's men's game. But then they went on in the playoff to sweep Argentina and sweep Bulgaria in Varna, Bulgaria. So France playing very well indeed. And Leroux dug by Murillo, but that ball out of bounds. And interesting, Laurent Tilly The French head coach told me before the match that this is one of the things that we have to do. We have to attack the middle much more, particularly against Brazil and particularly against the quality of teams in the rest of this tournament, the likes of Poland, Serbia, Italy, and the United States. Lucarelli cutting inside, a joust at the net, ball still not on the floor. Bruno is playing some great defense. That ball hit out of bounds, no touch detected. Substitution coming on the middle now. Nicholas Le Goff wearing number 14 in blue. 2 meters, 6 centimeters, nearly 6'9" if you go by that system. Just underway, opening day, still to come in the other group matchup between Serbia and Italy, which has caused a little bit of controversy since arriving here in Rio de Janeiro as that ball has been served out of bounds. Italy finished their intercontinental round splitting 2 matches here in Brazil. And then the team, rather than going back to Italy and then back to Brazil for the for the World League Finals, stayed in Rio, and 4 players were found in violation of team rules and were sent back home. Tilly with a kill down the line, and not just any players. Ivan Zaitsev, Dragan Travica, they were scheduled to compete here in Rio at the World League Finals. They will not play for Italy. And so Italy, which really struggled during the World Championships, their worst finish in nearly half a century, mired in a little bit of controversy here. And they had played well. They had played well during the course of the intercontinental round of the World League, again beating Brazil twice. Once at home and once here in South America. Another good mini run by France, getting right back into this opening set. Roussier to serve. Brazil has led throughout and are on top 17-14. And on the missed serve, make it 18-14. Brazil got out quickly in this opening set, 8-5. They led 12-7 when France called its first timeout, 16-10 at the second technical timeout, and are now on top by 4 as Evandro will go back to serve. He's been very impressive. And he misses that serve out of bounds. Evandro has been playing at the very highest level domestically for a long time, but getting a good look here at the international level for Brazil, and a pretty good start so far. One-on-one, touched on the outside by Toniutti, and Ngapeth unable to make the dig. Evandro Guerra, you might have seen that or noticed, 33 years of age, and it's the first time I have seen him on a Brazilian roster. Here's Lucarelli. Easy serve to handle. And into the middle once again, covered by Tilly. And Ngapeth, he likes the roundhouse. That's kind of becoming his signature move. And with the score, point in possession, back to France, trailing by 3. Some more blocking size coming out on the floor right now. Benjamin Toniutti going to the sideline. Here is Le Goff. Easy jump floater to handle. And on the back row, quick combination, an easy score. Number 17 on to block Franck Lafitte that time. And, of course, he will go right back to the sideline, replaced by the setter, Toniutti. Very nice movement that time. The block completely separated and drifting that time. Lafitte not in a good position. And Lucarelli with the wrist away against the flow. Brazil leading by 4. They have led throughout. And Lucas misses that serve by half a kilometer. But lots of room for error here. That's 2017. Pretty good rotation right now for France. Leroux up front along with Roussier and Ngapeth. And the undersized Toniutti now in the back court. Murillo. Oh, that's a mistake. Isaac probably should have swung at that. Evandro down the line once again, doing a really good job at the opposite position. Bruno will continue to serve, so now Brazil puts on their roster 3 outstanding opposite players. Wallace, Visotto, and now Evandro. It's going to be tough to make this Brazilian team. That ball high up into the top of the net. You might have noticed the net looks a little bit different. And speaking of looks, looking on Dave Smith, Kavika Shoji, and the rest of the United States team. Aaron Russell there, along with Tom Jeske. This is a young American team. They have really added some new young stars, Jeske and Aaron Russell in particular. The United States won their group with a record of 9-3. And they will be in action tomorrow taking on Brazil. And Gapeth misses once again. Way too many service errors without putting on too much pressure. Brazil has passed the ball very well. I started to talk about the new look at the net. The net is filled with LED lights. Won't be utilized. Oh, a dig again by Evandro. And that ball off the block and out of bounds. So the big guy playing some defense as well. Evandro Guerra. 2 meters, 7 centimeters, and hanging in and playing some very good defense. Timeout called by France, their second. And France is now out of timeouts, trailing 23-18. Yeah, with my limited French, what I discern from Laurent Tilly, telling his team to play. Don't always have to be swinging as hard as possible right into the block and taking big chances. Play the game, rally the ball, back and forth we go, and see what happens as far as maybe wearing Brazil down just a little bit. But as far as first strike right now, Brazil has a big advantage. Into the middle, no, out to Tilly. And that ball, fortunately, off the block and out of bounds. That was a lucky swing. Not a good set. This ball died inside. Evandro was right there. Tilly up into the hands of the block, and that was lucky. Brazil just 2 points away. France has got to score here. Into the middle. Yep, to Legoff. And again, Brazil is really playing inspired backcourt defense in spite of the fact that Sergio did not get this ball up. Shank pass to create the free ball, but boy, Brazil is getting hands in front of every attack, and Sergio right there as well. Spoke with Bernardo Rezende, now in his 15th year as head coach of the Brazilian men's team, and I said, what's the one thing that you need the most between now and the Olympic Games? And he said some consistency. We've always given up just a couple of points here and there. And if you look back, Brazil has not won a major championship since 2010, as they call timeout here. Back in 2010, they won their last World League. Since that time, they finished second at the Olympic Games, second 3 out of the last 4 years in the World League, last year losing to the United States. So for a team and a program of their heritage and their quality, that's a lot of second place finishes for a team like Brazil. Lost to Russia, the finals of the Olympic Games. And now the added pressure of trying to break that streak when they host the games. Again, the opening ceremonies on August 5th. The first volleyball match will be played in this building, Maracanazinho, on August 6th. Look at some of the numbers. The kills pretty close, 12-10, but France with more errors, particularly coming from the service line. LaRue has got to keep this serve in. A little bit of housekeeping going on. Maybe a little gamesmanship by Brazil, freezing LaRue just a little bit. They're right back in this, 23-21. Brazil's block and defense has been really impressive so far in this opening set. But here's France, just 2 points down. No excuse. You cannot miss that serve in that situation. You've clawed your way back into the set. You got to serve the ball in the court. Now Isaac and Brazil with 3 set points. Inexcusable by Leroux. Back row off the block, beautifully done by Irvan Ngapeth. Ngapeth again, undersized, but a tremendous athlete. Only 24 years of age, now 1.94 m. That is a very quick back row attack. Set point. And that ball's out of bounds. So now it will be the 3rd set point for Brazil. Still leading now, but just 24-23. And once again, Roussier must keep this serve in. Murillo right in the middle of the court. If I'm Roussier, I try to get the ball down the line on Lucarelli. He's going with a jump float off the top of the tape. Set point number 3. Evandro is stuffed. Bruno wants a challenge, and so we will have a challenge on a net touch violation against the French block. Le Goff with a big block. I did not see anything, but now we're waiting for the challenge to show the video proof. There's a camera again right on top of the net. Communication between the first and second referee, and as mentioned, there is now a dedicated challenge referee. He is Hernan Casamquela from Argentina, and waiting for the decision. Was there a net violation against France? If there was not, then we are tied at 24. You get 2 challenges per set. If the challenge is correct, you keep it. If it is incorrect, you lose it. And there was no touch on the net, so the point will go to France, and we're tied at 24. Wow, good things happen when you keep the serve in. How about that? Now Roussier can be a little more aggressive. Oh, big swing by Evandro off the right side. 1-on-1. Tilly, he was too wide. Murillo with a clutch pass. Watch. See, Tilly overran the play. He's got to get into the path of the ball. Evandro right into his strength, right into his body line. You know, if he turns the ball wrist away and hits the ball straight down the line, okay, fine. But the pressure's on Brazil after they gave up that 3-point lead. You got to make him change the direction of the ball. William Arjona on the floor now. Another very, very experienced player coming in as a defensive specialist. Right side to Roussier, and he puts the ball away. Tied at 25. Brazil led 24-21. They had 3 set points. And exactly to what Bernardinho was telling me before the match when Brazil came to warm up. What they've been missing in major moments and major competitions is consistency. And for France to be able to stave off Brazil and 3 set points, big. Here is Tilly, tied at 25. Must win by 2. Jump float handled perfectly by Murillo, and then off the block once again by Lucas Satkamp. I'll tell you, when Lucas is up front, if you're France, you have to really, really serve perfectly, and Murillo is still one of the best receivers in the world at 33 years of age. Ricardo Lucarelli, set point number 4 for Brazil. Ngapeth off the block and out of bounds. A little bit of a pose down by Irvan Ngapeth. Not only the good pass, but then high up off the block. That's a really good swing. That's the trajectory that you need against any world-class block. High, high, up into the hands. Nicholas Legoff now back to serve. Murillo again. Mentioned Murillo's name because of the perfect pass. Toniutti and Gapeth, good swing into the block to restart the point. Roussier down the line. And now France with their first set point. Brazil has had 4 set points. Legoff again. I don't know why they're serving Murillo. Evandro off the defense and out of bounds. Roussier has got to make that dig. And Laurent Tilly wants to challenge that this over dig by Roussier landed on the line. Communication again between the first referee and the second referee. Shin Muranaka from Japan is the second referee, and I've already mentioned that Hernan Casamaquela from Argentina is the challenge referee. I think the ball was out of bounds. Waiting for the video decision and the communication between the officials. Well, based on the video evidence, France was challenging the center line, but as you could clearly see, there was no fault. Tied at 27. Lipe now on to serve for Brazil. He's got a very, very live arm. Left side, and Gapeth is stuffed. 3-man block. Not a good swing. Well, you can't take that kind of risk. It all started with a very good serve by Luis Fonteles, Lipe. This is an important role to be able to come off the bench and serve like this. Set point number 5 for Brazil. Roussier blocked by Murillo again. So France went after Murillo, here number 8. The smaller of the blockers up front. Good reach outside his body line. He was part of the 3-man block against Ngapeth. And then, as I talked about, Antonin Roussier, these are the balls as the opposite that he must put away. And so the 2-time Olympian and the 2010 World Championship most valuable player, Murillo, closes things out for Brazil. They win the opening set 29-27 over France here at the FIVB World League Finals in Rio de Janeiro. Sergio with a dig outside Murillo off the block. And again, Evandro putting that ball away. Really good blocking so far for Brazil. Very impressive indeed. So Bruno will continue to serve. Second set just underway. Smart shot by Murillo to restart the point. And Evandro playing with rhythm and confidence, able to put that ball away, and the service error by Bruno. Wow, missed it wildly wide. Here's Irvin and Gapeth, had a couple of aces in the opening set. Beautiful set over his head. Murillo is dug. Roussier looking for some hands off the block, none detected. And that's something that can be challenged. The players are imploring their coach. There was a touch. Wow, you could see that. Watch the right hand of Isaac Santos. Yeah, right off his index finger. But France is not going to challenge. And Anton Roussier not happy about it at all, looking at his coach, Laurent Tilly, and saying, hey, why not challenge that? Good response out of the middle by Leroux. Once again, the French head coach Laurent Tilly telling me that he wanted to use his middle hitters a lot more in serve, receive, and transition. So Leroux, after the kill, will go back to serve, just underway. If you're joining us late, Brazil won the opening set in overtime, 29-27. Good swing, high up into the block and out of bounds. But before the play ended, there was a center line violation against Lucarelli. Watch the end of this play. He'll do a tightrope dance along the center line. He crosses over right there, and the play is not over until the ball hits the floor. So that's good work by the officials to keep an eye on that and the center line violation. France did have one set point in the opener after holding off Brazil. Brazil led 24-21. Not familiar with the Brazilian team. Yes, Bruno Rezende is the coach's son. Oh, another good block. Wow, Brazil's middle blockers are just doing an outstanding job. This time Lucas Satkamp, one-on-one, and Legoff has got to do more to change the direction of the ball. He was going wrist away. Yeah. What are you going to do about that? You got to change direction. You got to see the hands and hit that cross body. Roussier, this time against three blockers into the cross court. Yeah, Bernardinho going, you got to get this block together. Three-man block. Where does that ball go? Seam. That went seam in between the two blockers. And that ball missed out of bounds. Evandro, who was so good in the opening set with 6 kills on 11 attempts, hits that ball out of bounds. And we're going to have an early challenge. But was it too late? You have 5 seconds to challenge, and it's ruled that it was late. Lucarelli again, good, high, hard swing off the top of the French block and out of bounds, tied at 5. Brazil was 9-3 in their intercontinental round competition. They lost 1 match in Serbia and twice to Italy. Once in Italy and once at home, their final match of the intercontinental round. Italy coming up next against Serbia. Tilly off the inside hand of Lucas that time. Lucas mad at himself for not pressing better into the cross court. I think Lucas now has established himself, number 16. He's got to be among the top 2 or 3 middle blockers in the world. He is so good now offensively. Another misserve by France, this time by Tilly. Ricardo Lucarelli now going back to serve for Brazil after the retirement of Giba. Of course, some very, very big shoes to fill. One of the great players of all time. 3-time world champion, Olympic gold medalist. I'm speaking of Giba. Oh, another block. There is Lucas. Boy, his lateral movement is so good, and his hand positioning is so precise. It just doesn't get any better than that. That is just absolutely superb. And a very good read by Lucas, seeing where Toniutti was going to go with that ball. Roussier has that ball rejected again, and just like in the opening set, Brazil getting to the first technical timeout with the advantage, leading 8-6 over France, already on top, 1-0. We'll step aside for a moment, as will the teams you're watching. The FIVB World League Finals coming to you from Rio. Remember back to the comments of Laurent Tilly, the head coach for France in the opening set. Just got to play a little bit more. And I think that the French attackers, be they in the middle or on the outside, are just trying to be a little too terminal, hitting the ball way too low to the top of the net and paying the price. They got to aim a little bit higher up into the hands, make Brazil get into a rhythm, rally the ball. Right now, they're just playing right into the hands of Brazil's 2 big middle blockers, Lucas Satkamp and Isaac Santos. And that ball luckily tucked down inside inside the block of Murillo, who had the 2 blocks to seal the deal in the opening set. Back quick by Le Goff, and then that one just sneaks inside. Back row, quick combination put away by Lucarelli. But again, another perfect pass by Murillo, making it happen. If I were France, I just would not serve number 8 in yellow. Just wouldn't do it. He is so valuable to this Brazilian team, even though the offensive load that he carries is much smaller than it used to be before the shoulder injury. Still a very risky swing, but the trajectory there awfully good by Irvin Ngapeth. That time off of the top of Bruno. See, if you're a young outside hitter, that's where you have to hit the ball, into the fingers of the block, not into the hands and certainly not into the arms. Right side to Roussier, and able to put that ball away. Very good in transition. Ngapeth, the left side attacker for France, had to cover the tip by Murillo, so he was not available. You see the very end of the play of Andro. That's the second or third defensive opportunity that he has missed. That ball off the edge of the block and out of bounds, just off the arm of Irvin Ngapeth. Yeah, Ngapeth, like some of the smaller blockers for Brazil, is a target. So I would think that Brazil would go after him as much as they possibly can as Bruno comes up with a service error here. Tied at 10, second set. Brazil ranked number 1 in the world, France number 12. These two teams faced off in October in Poland at the World Championships. Chance here for France to take the lead. Quick set through the hands of Evandro, and Leroux once again And Laurent Tilly was not exaggerating at all. He really, really wants Benjamin Toniutti, the French setter, to get the ball into the middle attackers a lot more. Here is Ngapeth again, serving short. Back row combination dug by Grabinikov. Brazil trying to play really fast in transition. What a swing by Lucarelli out of the left back position. That's a really good twist. And what you want to do, see, Sergio just speeds up the play. Look at France's block. They're totally disorganized. Roussier was completely by himself, and one of the best contacts that time was by the libero Sergio to get Brazil back on offense much quicker. Right side, good wrist away that time. I don't mind that block. Lucarelli made Roussier really change the direction of the ball, and that's what you want to do when you're one-on-one. Get into the path. Yeah, that's just a good shot down the line, and a very, very good choice this time by the setter for France, Toniutti. Leroux's been struggling with his serve, but not here. Perfect pass. And Evandro once again are off the right side. The leading scorer so far for Brazil, as we're still tied at 12 apiece. 11 players on the French roster here at these World League finals. We're in Katowice for the World Championships, the final phase in October. Really good set by Toniutti, and Ngapeth again out of the middle back position. Irvin Ngapeth has got to play fast. Lucas tried to get there. He just hangs in the middle of the court. Lucas Saatkamp, number 16, again, still manages to at least get in front of that really quick offensive play. Dug by Tilly. Getting up quickly, throwing the ball, Lucarelli there. Got to get back outside in transition, and the ball is blocked, this time by Benjamin Toniutti. That was a really tough chance for Ricardo Lucarelli, wearing number 18 in yellow for Brazil. He had come in, covered the tip, had to go all the way back outside. He hit the ball at the right player, but just got to go a little higher into the hands or tip into the block and restart the point. France with a 2-point advantage. Another bad pass. I like it that France is keeping the ball off of Murillo. And now a 15-12 advantage, and Brazil is going to call one of their 2 team timeouts, and the teams will head to the sideline. France trailed early 8-6, but they have taken control here now, leading 15-12. Teams coming back out onto the floor. Brazil won the opening set again 29-27. And France has been a very streaky team. And once again, Brazil at times has shown the inconsistency that really concerned head coach Bernardo Rezende. Brazil has won this tournament 9 times, the last in 2010. And coming out of the timeout, Roussier misses that serve out of bounds. William Rona coming on to serve now for Brazil on the roster as a defensive and back row specialist. Arjonia, 35 years of age. Roussier! That ball absolutely rejected, but we've had some, watch the contact at the end. An elbow there, Lucarelli inadvertently, watch Lucas Saatkamp, right in the side of his left eye. Well, I have seen some really, really bad injuries. Reed Pretty, one of the stars for the United States, got elbowed in the head accidentally by one of his teammates, and he was out of action for a long, long time. Reed Pretty still trying to get back from a very serious knee injury last year against Bulgaria at the start of the 2014 World League. He had surgery on his leg and is working his way back in. Leandro Visotto on the floor now, replacing Evandro Guerra. Visotto wearing number 6. But again, some really ill-advised swings, in my opinion, for France. They're just challenging Brazil's block way too much instead of looking to extend some of these rallies. Lucarelli unloading into the cross court, dug by Tilly, and then a double contact is called. So 3 straight points after a timeout by Brazil, and the teams will head back to the sideline as we've come to the second technical timeout of the second set. Brazil now leading 16-15, thanks to the 3-0 run. Technical timeout here at Maracanazinho in Rio. So Visotto, number 6, now in the lineup for Brazil. 2 meters, 12 centimeters, 6 feet 11. And a very talented opposite. He had some real injury problems at the Olympic Games in 2012 with a calf muscle. Wallace came on and played superbly. Roussier off the top. Good defense again by Brazil, but Visotto can't make that play. Brazil is challenging the center line. Lucas Sontkamp saying that Antonin Roussier came under the net. So the communication now, in tournaments past, the challenge monitors, the challenge computer, there you see the highlight right there. In order to have violated the center line, you need to be completely under the net. No, there's no violation there. That's going to be France's ball. Lucas felt the contact with Roussier under the net, but for it to be a violation, the foot has to be entirely over the center line, and it was not. This call is going to go against Brazil, or I should say in favor of France. I started to say about the challenge equipment. The challenge equipment used to be on the competition floor, but now it is in a separate room. There's the video evidence. And no, everybody's saying, yep, there it is. And so there was indeed no center line violation. Lucarelli, he's really picked it up blocking and offensively here in the second set. Very talented young player. And I like the double sub. 35-year-old William Arjonia coming on along with Leandro Visotto. Double sub has been a staple for Brazil. You bring in a setter for the starting opposite in the back row. You bring in an opposite in Visotto for the starting setter up front. Roussier down the line once again. Murillo getting caught inside. Good offense for France. Tied at 17. Legoff now inserted into the lineup midway through the opening set. Back to serve. Smart shot by Roussier to restart the point. Ngapeth tipping. And Lucarelli off the top of the tape, and I mean hard. And Lucas hits the ball out of bounds. Brazil likes to take some chances, forcing the ball into the middle to Lucas in transition. This is a tough play. There's some distance. See, William there is about at the 3-meter line, so that's a tough combination or connection to make. Roussier again over the top of the block, but just out of bounds. And now we're going to have a challenge. And Laurent Tilly, if my lip reading is any good, he's challenging that there was a touch. Yeah, that's the question. That's good work by the first official. Net touch on the block or a ball touch by the block. You got to be very, very specific. Well, of course, Brazil says no, and that is being reviewed right now. Tied at 18. Brazil, let's take a look once again. No, there's no net touch there. That's the official review. And so there was no net violation. I mean, the net, look, these are big men. The net is going to vibrate a little bit just with all of the action near the center line and whatnot, but I saw no net violation there. So France is down to one challenge, as is Brazil. Remember, Brazil challenged the center line. So Brazil and France now with one challenge remaining. And Gapeth with the kill. France back on top. Good block by Leroux. Finally. And Laurent Tilly, the head coach for France. Remember, Brazil outblocked France 5-2 in the opening set. And now Brazil calls its second timeout, with France leading 20-18. There are the blocking numbers. As mentioned in the opening set, it was a 5-2 advantage, and Brazil already on top 4-2 in terms of blocking here in the second set. Toniutti again. Right side to Vizotto. So Leandro Vizotto, in spite of the fact that he's rotating to the back line now, where Bruno would normally re-enter if Andro comes back in replacing William. So Bruno will come back on after the serving rotation from Vizotto. Good jump float. And that ball over the top of the block, Irvin Gapeth. Boy, that is really poor defense by Brazil. And Gapeth had no choice here but to throw the ball over the top of the block. And I don't know where Leandro Vizotto is going. He's playing middle back, and he just released. And when you got a player like Sergio back there roaming around, you got to trust him a little bit. And Gapeth with the service ace. Remember, Brazil is out of timeouts. I told you France was playing exceptionally well coming in. Did not get off to a good start. They trailed throughout the entire opening set. Were behind 24-11, fought off 4 set points. Had 1 set point of their own. Brazil won the opening set 29-27. Once again, Brazil got off to a good start. They led at the first technical timeout in the second set 8-6. But then France outscored Brazil 5-2 to take the 2018 advantage. Lipe will come back on now, replacing Murillo. This is basically a serving substitution. Murillo should be right back on to play in reception. France leading 22-20. Oh, that is a really great swing. Antonin Roussier ripped that one. I thought that ball was set a little bit too tight by Toniutti. But boy, Roussier able to uncork that. As I thought, Murillo right back on. I just would not serve number 8. I just think he's a magnificent passer. And Leroux, who missed a very important serve in the opening set, has a little bit of margin for error here. Really good serve. Coming outside to Lucarelli. Smart swing, getting the ball on Roussier. Evandro is stuffed by Le Goff. So now France with 4 set points. Really magnificent block, but not a smart swing. That's right into the strength of the block, and Nicolas Le Goff, number 14 in blue, celebrating there. Set point number 1 for France. Leroux taking some extra time. He dropped the ball. The whistle's been blown. Oh, Kevin Leroux has got to come up with that ball. I know at 2 meters 9 centimeters, he doesn't get paid the big bucks for playing defense, but come on. You got to make that play. So 1 set point saved. Isaac now for Brazil, 24-21. And he misses it out of bounds, and we're now tied at 1 set apiece. Really good comeback by France after they narrowly lost the opening set in overtime, 29-27. France takes the second, 25-21. They trailed early, but absolutely dominated the second half of that second set. We're tied in this best 3 out of 5 set opening match of the World League Finals between Brazil and France at 1 set apiece. There are the numbers from the second set alone. The final score, the most important, 25-21. 1 service ace, 3 blocks, still Brazil leading in that category. 14 kills, very even match in terms of the numbers, and obviously on the scoreboard tied at 1 set apiece. Leading scorer now for Brazil is Lucarelli with 10 total points. Evandro Guerra now with 9. Lucas Satkamp, who got off to a pretty good start, was very quiet in that second set. Antonin Roussier with 10 points leading the way, along with Irvin Ngapeth, who has 11. So combined, they have the 21 points for France. Paul Sunderland on hand on behalf of the FIVB. I'll be here for you throughout the course of the tournament. The preliminary round on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. The semifinals will be played very early local time here in Rio at 9 and 11 o'clock in the morning local time. And then the finals, the bronze medal and the gold medal game, will be on Sunday. Third set underway, and Benjamin Toniutti with the service error. Brazil currently ranked number 1 in the world, finished second at the last World Championships to Poland. That the finals were in Katowice. Lost to Poland 3-1. And in spite of the fact that Irvin Ngapeth and France won that second set, still think they just need to be a little more conservative, if you will, in terms of their attacking, taking a lot of risk. But they could prove me wrong. That ball down inside the block of Kevin Tilly, so Lucarelli with yet another kill. Specifically at the offensive end, Lucarelli now 10 of 22. Evandro Guerra 8 of 18 for Brazil. Antonin Roussier already 23 attempts through 2 sets. That ball on the floor in front of Bruno. The kill that time by Kevin Leroux. In total, Brazil out-blocking France 9-5, but tied at 1 set apiece. Brazil won the opener, and then France came back to take the second, 25-21. France outscored Brazil 10-5 to close out that second set. Isaac misses that ball out of bounds, an unforced error there. Clearly no touch on the block, and there'll be no challenge. Ooh, there was a micro touch. Watch the little finger of the right hand of Nicolas Le Goff. But it's up to the coaching staff of Brazil to challenge that time. Very nice high flat shot. That's the kind of trajectory you want. And if I was telling the French players, if I could get in their huddle, I'd say, look, this is the kind of swing you want to make. This ball goes high off the top of the hands. And even if Ngapeth is able to track that ball down, Brazil is way ahead in the point. They're going to get an easy swing coming back. Here is Santos. Le Goff able to turn that ball wrist away from Lucas Satkamp. Le Goff has come on and played pretty well. On the overpass, Toniutti. Wow, that was a gift. Setters love to swing at the ball and was looking for a little bit of a touch and missed it out of bounds. See, I like it that France is not serving Murillo. And they've been getting some opportunities on block and defense, and an easy one there. Evandro back to serve for Brazil, tied at 4. Ngapeth! That is just a magnificent swing. And Ngapeth with a classic celebration afterwards. That is just a world-class swing. Team completely out of system and comes out of nowhere to put that ball away. Bruno on one. Le Goff lost track. Bruno's a pretty good size setter and also jumps exceptionally well. So he disguised that very effectively. Here is Lucarelli. Been the best attacker for Brazil so far. Ngape through the block and down once again. Bernardino really upset with his defense. Thought this ball should have come back. Through a seam in the block and just leaning the wrong way. And Ngapeth looking into the cross court, found a small hole. And Lucarelli, number 18 in yellow, was leaning right and leaning left, and the ball broke to his right. Evandro high up off the block and out of bounds. Good set that time by Bruno Rezende. You know, it looked like the easy set, of course, would have been to go to Murillo, but Murillo's shoulder is not there yet. He just doesn't have the kind of heat on the ball, so Bruno went back over his head all the way across the court to Evandro. And the service winner for Lucas. Sometimes kind of an awkward looking player is Lucas Saatkamp. All arms and legs and coming at you from all kinds of different angles. This is a very tough serve to read. Roussier down the line, dug by Brazil. A couple of French players go down, not many choices to Roussier again. And Ngape, third time is the charm. Through the block and down. Big guys playing defense. Lucas Saatkamp with a kill there. A little bit of a traffic accident in the backcourt. And then Evandro digging the ball that time into the cross court. Don't serve Murillo. That's just, oh! Irvin Ngapeth. Look out below. Watch the reaction. Tremendous one-on-one block by Irvin Ngapeth, one of the game's best. At the technical timeout, the first of the third set, France back on top, 8-7. What a performance at both ends of the floor right now for number 9, Irvin Ngapeth. Both attacking and blocking. Beautiful move one-on-one as number 6, the captain, and setter Benjamin Toniutti will go back to serve. First match of this year's World League Finals, $1 million to the winner. Brazil has won this championship 9 times, the most of anyone, but their last was all the way back in 2010. France has never won. A little pinball wizardry. Ngapeth once again over the top. And Lucarelli smartly into the block, but stuffed. Good block that time. And there's going to be a challenge by Brazil. And Bernardino asking for the challenge. As it stands now, France leading 9-7 here in the second set. Challenging a net touch here. Yeah, there's Bernardino. See, the officials got to be very specific, looking for a net touch on the part of the French block. And remember, there is a camera right on top of the net. Is there a? I don't see one. There's no net violation there. There's the official review, and there's no net violation. Coming and going. No violation, and the point will go to France. And Toniutti will continue to serve, and France now leading 9-7. Oh my goodness. How do you call a lift on that? Wow. That's a first contact. Wow. Anything goes on the first that was a brilliant dig. Boy, I don't like that call at all. Take another look. Isaac out of the middle. Well, we didn't see it. Boy, I'd like to see that. That was a really good dig. Now what the French players have to do is they got to ignore that. They got to move on. One of the things that Laurent Tilly told me about his team, you know, the quick turnaround from the Group 2 finals in Varna, the losing of the luggage, the travel. He said, one of the things that I love the most about this group is they're not whiners. They don't complain. They just go out and play. They got a lot to complain about on that particular call, but let's see if they've moved on. A double contact is called here. Remember, you can play the ball below the waist. The first referee, Nasser Shaban, has called a double contact, and we're tied. Here's another look. Well, you didn't see it there. They cut away from the replay, and you didn't see it there. That's balls into the antenna and missed out of bounds that time by Ivandro. Yeah, that's just a hitting error by Ivandro down the line and into the antenna. A yellow card has been given to Irvin Ngapeth, so he got to settle down. This match is right there. France is playing at a high level. They've had a couple of calls that I thought one was really a bad call. We did not get a chance to see the video of the double contact. Ace serve by France. And a little karma coming back France's way off the top of the tape. France leading by 2. Boy, that is just lucky. So Leroux, who struggled with his serve in the opening set, has really cleaned things up. Off the top of the tape and out of bounds. I must say, in the interests of full disclosure and accuracy, the new net with all of the LED lights in it, it's quite heavy and quite a bit more stiff, and the ball does react differently off the top of the tape, whether it's from a spike or from a serve. You saw that ball into the top of the tape from Leroux just bounced basically straight down. That ball missed out of bounds on the sideline by Isaac Santos. So France continuing to lead 13-11. Remember, we'll have the second technical timeout. Brazil is challenging here. Challenging the ball in or out. Brazil has already used and lost one challenge. That looks out. But again, there is a camera right on that line. So close enough to challenge. Oh, that ball's good. Good use of the challenge. So Brazil gets the point and retains their last challenge. Crowd a little happier now. And that one is missed badly out of bounds. So instead of it being 13-11, when that serve was reviewed, called good, you saw the video evidence on the line. And so now on the service error, it is 13-12. Roussier has been playing very well back at the line. And a little confusion between Murillo and Sergio, who have played together for years and years. Boy, that one drops just inside the end line. Perfect location on the serve. Good high attack that time by Lucas, working against number 14, Le Goff. Lots of momentum at stake here, along with pressure. Bernardino again told me that one of the things that has really hurt his team at the Olympics, at the World Championships, at the World League Finals, just periods of inconsistency. A lot of silver medals for Brazil over the last couple of years. Roussier right on the sideline. That was a world-class swing. Remember, we'll have the second timeout when a team reaches 16, second technical timeout. Two coaches' sons playing in this match. Kevin Tilly, the son of Laurent. And, oh, that ball is ripped into the chest of Kevin Tilly by Lucas once again. And Bruno, the son of Bernardino. Tilly in a pretty good spot, but the angle of attack there just too good. Here is Lucarelli serving for Brazil. Trailing by one, again tied at one set apiece. That's going to be by Murillo. Smart play off the block and out of bounds. I know that was a tough chance setting this ball, but Roussier, don't try to set that ball perfectly. Keep that ball 10 feet off the net. Keep it 3 meters off the net. Remember what Irvan Ngapeth did with a ball that was 3 meters off the net? You cannot make that mistake. Perfect pass. Roussier one-on-one. But the perfect pass by Genia Grebennikov, the libero for France, as the teams will head to the sideline. Second technical timeout. France leading Brazil 16-15 here in Rio. Well, a good look at Bernardo Rezende now in his 15th year as head coach of the Brazilian men after a lot of people forget, but he was a very successful coach of their women's team at the 1996 Olympic Games, where they lost only to the eventual champions Cuba twice. Lucarelli down the line and off of Le Goff. The big guys for France have got to play better defense. Leroux and Le Goff not particularly adept at that particular phase of the game. He wasn't in any kind of defensive position. Not at all. Here is Lucas. See, that's better set. 10 feet off the net. Evandro down the line, dug by Grebennikov. That's how you play the game. High, hard, flat swings, set the ball off the net in transition, make the other team produce, and then you make defensive plays. Grebennikov, who I think is one of the very best, along with his teammate Ngapeth, give France the lead once again. Oh, smart shot by Murillo. Ngapeth was out of position. He saw the tip coming from Murillo. See Ngapeth right there, chasing the ball down, number 9 in blue. He saw the tip coming, so he moved over underneath the block to cover the short shot by Murillo, and Roussier just changed the direction on him. Roussier, Antonin Roussier is really playing a superb match. Crowd getting on Roussier for his vocal celebration after that particular point. Well, we are in Brazil after all. And the ball served out of bounds, tied at 18. Murillo will go back to serve. Used to have a very, very good jumper. Yeah, and that's why he's going to give way right now to Lippe. Murillo still coming back from shoulder surgery. Really couldn't hit a ball at all at the World Championships in Poland in October when Brazil finished second. And so he will give way to Lippe, who is working as the serving specialist, serving sub for Brazil. Backup outside hitter. Small hole in the block. Isaac's doing a very good job of moving to the outside, but I think the outside blockers, and Bernardinho is telling his blockers that right now. Evandro, the outside blocker right now, number 15 for Brazil, he's too wide. France has yet to really turn a ball down the line. You got to force the outside hitters, Roussier, Tilly, and Ngapeth, to change the direction. If I'm Brazil, I start moving the block in. Once again, big guys not playing defense. Leroux in the second set missed an opportunity. Didn't cost his team the set. Tough chance, but you just got to find a way to poke that ball up in the air so you can keep the play going. Tied at 19. And the misserve this time by Isaac. Had an ace his last time through that was confirmed on a challenge by Brazil. Been a long time since either team scored a serving point. Double sub coming on right now. William Horonia coming on along with Leandro Visotto. They will replace Evandro at the opposite and Bruno at the setting position. Visotto coming in for Bruno. William coming in for Evandro. Tied at 20. Quick set out of the middle, dug by Sergio. Visotto keeps it alive. Roussier down the line. Outstanding play at the defensive end, dug by Sergio. And it's a good thing Visotto is 2 meters, 12 centimeters, because he needed all of it to track that ball down. I'll tell you, Antonin Roussier is having a big-time match. Lucas Satkamp once again. Really clutch reception that time by Sergio. Lucarelli's been serving well. Not only has he been serving tough, he's been serving in a lot, which oftentimes don't go hand in hand. Smart shot by Ngapeth up into the block. Takes another look. What a set by William to Lucas. And finally, Brazil scores a serving point. Roussier again, high up into the block. And Vizotto, wow, remember that. That could have been the set. Off the top of the tape and out of bounds. And remember, with the heavier laden net, with all the LED lights, a little less forgiving, but no excuse for making that mistake. That was really a bad error. Lucarelli unloading. Brazil 23, France 22. Little housekeeping going on the French side, making sure the floor is dry. And Lucas misses that serve out of bounds. But see, Brazil now with the advantage in terms of service pressure, because they'll side out at about 75%, so they'll be going back to serve with a score tied. They can take a few more risks. Here's Toniutti. Got to come out to Murillo here. And off the top of the block and out of bounds. Really a smart swing by Murillo. Oh, he is so smart. And again, way high up into the block, no question. The touch on number 4, Roussier. Set point number 1 for Brazil. This for the 2-1 advantage. Boy, Vizotto is going to hear it from his coach when he goes over to the sideline. He hit a very easy ball out of bounds. Well, Bernardinho cutting his player some slack there. Missed a very easy ball attacking out of bounds and then missed that jump float as well. Tied at 24. And Gapeth going for the big serve and pays the price. Set point again for Brazil. Two back-to-back float serve errors for Brazil. Wow. There's that inconsistency again. You've got to serve the ball in the court. Kevin Leroux back to serve now for France. He's been good at the line. After a slow start, he's been good. Ace serve! Has he indeed been good? Timeout called by Brazil. They've had 2 set points, and now out of the timeout, France will have their first set point. This for the all-important 2-1 advantage. Evandro up front. He'll hit the right side. Isaac in the middle. Lucarelli out on the left side. And if Leroux can do it, he should serve the ball to the right side. And he goes there and misses it. Wow. He was going after the seam between Lucarelli and Sergio. Now tied at 26. Going to overtime once again, as we did in the opening set, won by Brazil 29-27. Finally, a serve in the court. High up off the top of the block and out of bounds. Where is Isaac going defensively? caught way too far inside the court. This is a good high flat swing, but there was lots of air underneath this ball. And Isaac has got to be playing much deeper defensively. Set point number 2 for France. Perfect pass, right side to Evandro, and off the block and out of bounds. That was a world-class swing. Kevin Tilly is upset at himself for not blocking that ball. Watch Tilly's outside hand. His outside hand was a little bit flat. And what I mean by that is, ideally, if you have time, it should be turned into the court. Then you're turning that ball back in. Maybe not stuffing it, but certainly doing a better job. And here's a block with the hands right in front. And so Brazil will have their 3rd set point. 28-27. And one of the keys, Lucas Sotkamp back in the front court for Brazil. Tilly able to tuck the ball inside. Wow, what a swing. Both of these teams right now are playing at a pretty high level, particularly in the attacking phase of the game. That was a world-class swing, and Lucas mad at himself for not dropping the inside hand and stuffing that ball. Tied at 28. That's a mistake serving Murillo. Chance at a real point. Combination. Slam dunk that time by Le Goff. And so now France will have their 3rd set point, leading 29-28. And a timeout is called by Brazil. They are now out of timeouts. Well, if you're enjoying this, coming up next on day 1 out of the other group will be Serbia versus Italy. That will be coming your way about 30 minutes after the conclusion of this first match. Italy mired in some controversy. 4 of their top players sent back home, dismissed, well, we think at least temporarily, from the team. Lucarelli again off the top of the block. Boy, he just explodes on the ball. What a tremendous outside attacker and really good velocity. Tied at 29. Each team has had 3 set points. Tough swing for Ngapeth. Off the block and out of bounds. Change of pace, maybe a little bit lucky, but number 9 in blue will take it. See, this is what you do. High up into the block, better set, 3 meters off the net, and the worst thing that's going to happen is that Ngapeth is blocked back onto his own side and France can restart the point. France uses one of their timeouts to talk about yet another set point, their 5th. Le Goff should serve right in front of him down the left sideline if he can. And he goes to Murillo instead. I just don't get that at all. France keeps the ball alive. Will they go back to Lucas? Set point. Oh, he's rejected. Two blockers up. Irvin Ngapeth and Kevin Leroux. And France, with the stuff block in OT, takes the 2-1 advantage. They win the third set 31-29. So Brazil won the opening set 29-27. France comes back, takes the second pretty easily, 25-21. And then again, in extra time, takes the third, 31-29. We'll be back with the fourth set here from Rio de Janeiro. Players and I will take a short time out. Yeah, Irvin Ngapeth enjoying that. France with a 2-1 advantage. Well, for 3 sets, been playing for a long time. The opening set took 36 minutes, the second 29, and the just concluded third set took 35 minutes. Both the first and third going to OT, and France pulling that out thanks to an outstanding block along with Kevin Leroux. France wins it 31-29. France may only be ranked 12th in the world, but Bernardinho was very concerned about how this French team was playing coming into this particular tournament. And it's interesting, this is the 4th time that Brazil has hosted the World League Finals, but hasn't been particularly kind. The only time Brazil won was in Sao Paulo back in 1993, and Rio in particular. Brazil was second in 1995 and 4th in 2008. So it's not like Brazil is used to, one, qualify for the finals by being the host and then just rolling to the championship. Give France a lot of credit and watch for some changes early on in this 4th set to the lineup for Brazil. Bruno will start serving. And Antonin Roussier once again. Antonin Roussier has been absolutely superb. I've got the totals through 3 sets. That was his 15th kill on 34 swings for Roussier. Off the top of the block, Grabinnikov will track that down. Ngapeth through the block, and France gets out very quickly. Ngapeth now with 14 kills, Kevin Tilly with 7. Leading the way for Brazil is Lucarelli with 15 kills, Evandro Guerra with 10. So that is such a bad mistake. Keep the ball on your side of the net. Come on. That's a chance for France to score 3 serving points to start this set, and that's just careless. Really careless. As far as blocking is concerned, France picking things up a little bit. They still trail Brazil 11-8. But they lead in the most important category, and that's the set score. Right now, France leading 2-1. France is on a 14-match winning streak. They won all 12 matches of their intercontinental round, and then they beat Argentina, and then they beat Bulgaria, both in straight sets, to qualify as the winner of Group 2 into this final. Lucarelli looking for a call, and early on, no challenge. That ball ruled in. Boy, I think that's one I would have challenged. That ball was very, very close indeed. Back row combination off the top of the net. And Lucarelli, what a smart swing. Really good swing, high up into the block, perfect set in transition, 5 or 6 feet off the net. That's how you get it done. Really good swing off the top of Rousier, number 4. And Isaac misses that serve. Again, this is just day one. Brazil, France, followed later on today by Serbia and Italy. Tomorrow it will be the defending champions from the United States against Brazil, and it'll be Italy versus the reigning world champions from Poland. This is really, really a quality field. This is my 11th year during the World League Finals. And if Italy had its full contingent of players, I would have thought that this might be the strongest World League Finals that I've ever covered. But now with their dismissal, ace serve by Evandro. And once again, if you're a fan of Italy, I'll give you the names of those players who have been dismissed from this tournament for a violation of team rules. Ivan Zaitsev, Luigi Randazzo, Dragan Travica, and Andrea Giovi have all been sent home by their head coach, Mauro Bruto. What a play. Keep the ball off the net. Give Antonin Rousier a chance to take a swing. Rousier is having a spectacular opening match of this World League. That is his 15th kill. That's smart. Keep the ball off the net, and then that ball hit out of bounds. No touch detected. Brazil is going to challenge. They're going to challenge a touch off the top of the block. 2 challenges per set. If the challenge is proven correct by video evidence, then you keep it. Yeah, there's a touch. There you see the little pinky finger of Le Goff. And the video evidence will confirm that as well. So this is going to be Brazil's ball, Brazil's point, and very good use of the challenge. That's a correct call. I really like the challenge system. I really like it. There's still some evolution to it in terms of communication and execution. It needs to be a little bit quicker. But there you saw that little bit of a micro touch. That was really good use of the challenge. Here is Lucarelli again. Rousier! Look out. Off of the head or off of the shoulder of Sergio. Rousier, good sportsmanship, apologizing. Oh, yeah. Sergio's got to work on his header. Here's Le Goff. Murillo again with a perfect, and that ball missed out of bounds, looking for a seam in the block. So another serving point for France here early. Of their 7, 3 of those have come when they've been serving. Remember, we have a technical timeout when a team reaches 8, another when a team reaches 16. Le Goff again, and misses that out of bounds. Trying to serve tough, just missed it long. And right back at you, ball served out of bounds. So we've come to the first technical timeout of the fourth set. France leading Brazil 2-1 and 8-7 as the teams go to the sideline. Tell you, one of the observations I would make is that early on in this match, when Brazil took the 29-27 advantage, I thought their defense, in other words, the coordination between their block and their backcourt defense, was much better than that played by France. But I don't think Brazil's defense has stayed at that level. Give France, Benjamin Toniutti, the setter, going back to serve, and their attackers, particularly Irvin Ngapeth and Antonin Roussier, some credit for putting a lot of attacking pressure on Brazil's block and defense. But that's one area that this match has really changed. Murillo tipping there. Ngapeth, very smart play. Irvin Ngapeth along with Antonin Roussier have really led the way. The court is very wet, and so after Ngapeth went to the floor, it's been quite a couple of days here in Brazil for Irvin Ngapeth and France. They traveled all the way from Varna, where they played the championship match of Group 2 against Bulgaria on Saturday. Almost all of their luggage was missing. Their uniforms weren't here. Free ball coming. Chance for another serving point, and that ball off the top of the block. Touch called against Isaac. And now France leads 10-7, and Lipe right now is going to come in for Murillo. And if you're France, you have to serve. Lipe is a very good player, wearing number 12 in yellow. Luis Fontelez, you got to serve him. That's a mistake. You got to go right at him. Ivandro! Off the block and out of bounds. That's a real tactical error there by France. You got to serve Lipe. France still leading 2-1 and 10-8. Beautiful set that time by Toniutti to Leroux. Middle blocker Isaac will learn with experience, more experience. When the setter goes up with one hand, look, Leroux was going behind. So Isaac, number 2 in yellow for Brazil, completely out of position. Good set by Toniutti. Oh, what a block that time by Isaac. Talk about getting your hands in the right spot. Remember this play. That was really, quite frankly, a lucky block by Isaac, but that's a good lesson to young players. If you're really late as a blocker, just get up and over the net no matter where you are. That was a 2-point turnaround. A point France thought they certainly should have had. And Ngapeth with a kill once again on the back row quick combination. Leroux. Boy, that's another really good swing. High off the inside hand that time of the French block, and Lucarelli with yet another kill. He doesn't look that strong, but boy, his velocity is unbelievable. No chance. Big block on the outside by Evandro. So now twice Kevin Tilly has had opportunities. That was one-on-one. Tilly has got to find a way to put one of those balls away. Maintain the advantage for France. Isaac no longer going with the jump serve. The jump float here, and that ball in between the blockers and down by Le Goff. Tough chance, but just not down defensively. Good pass by Lipe. Evandro is stuffed. So now Kevin Tilly returning the favor. Brazil's got to come out here to Lucarelli on top of Benjamin Toniutti. Toniutti, the diminutive setter now for France. Not a strong blocker, so Brazil's got a really good matchup if they set the ball out to their left side. Well, there it is. And there's the result. Benjamin Toniutti is really, really a good setter, but he gives up an awful lot blocking. Toniutti only 1.83 meters and even 6 feet tall. He's a midget by today's standards. France still leading 14-12, however. And Evandro misses that out of bounds. Inconsistency in all phases of the game. Inconsistent blocking and defense. Inconsistent serving. Brazil usually a very consistent receiving and offensive team. As evidence, there's the matchup again. Dug by Grebennikov. Lucas Satkamp, one-on-one, and here comes the double substitution. William will come on again with Vizotto. This double sub didn't go so well in set number 3. Bruno and Evandro go to the sideline. We'll have the second technical timeout of this fourth set when a team reaches 16. Ace serve by Lucarelli. He's been Brazil's best player. Roussier is rejected. Roussier had been taking so many smart swings, but that was not one of them. We are, however, going to have a challenge at the end of the play. You got to just throw that ball up into the block and restart the point. You cannot take that kind of a risky swing. So now Laurent Tilly has asked for a challenge. He thought that Brazil's blockers had contacted the net. So that's what's being challenged right now. Yeah, there it is. That's going to be France's point. That is really clear. That's going to be for, look at Lipe. He's got his head over the top of the net. That's a net violation on Brazil. Still waiting for the video confirmation, the communication between the first referee, the umpire, and the challenge referee. First referee again is Mr. Nasser Shaban. You saw the contact on the top of the net. That's a net violation against Brazil and Lipe. Taking too long here. We've already seen it. There it is. There's the net violation. Easy play to call. And good work by the officials. Maybe it took a little longer. Irvin Ngapeth giving his coach some high five for making the right call. But most importantly, you take a point off of Brazil's column and give it to France, and they now lead 16-14. Real pressure right now on Brazil, and give France all the credit for that. They have played exceptionally well. They lost a tough opening set. They didn't let that get them down. They've come back. They won the second set 25-21. They won the third in overtime 31-29, and have come out very strongly here in the fourth set. Brazil ranked number 1 in the world, playing at home, opening match of the World League. Brazil will take on the United States tomorrow. France will have the day off. They will play the United States on Friday. Here is Le Goff. That ball tucked inside by Visotto, inside of Ngapeth. So Brazil back within 1. Leroux finds a small seam in the block. As I was talking about during one of the timeouts, I think Brazil's block and block defense coordination has really fallen off in the last set and a half. This ball just in a small seam. Visotto again, this time unloading off the chest of Roussier. Leandro Visotto, now 31 years of age, won a silver medal at both the World Championships and at the London Olympics. Visotto again, good decision. That ball was set too low. And off the top of the block and down. Antonin Roussier, this is the best I have seen him play against this level of competition. He's world class, make no mistake, but just one smart swing after another. Overpass, oh my goodness. France maybe just gave away the set. That was an absolute gift between Tilly and Leroux. You got to put this ball away 100% of the time. Remember that. That would have made it 19-16. Instead, it's 18-17. And that's Tilly's ball to hit. It's on his right hand. He should have put that ball away. And Lippe misses this one. Brazil's serving has been really poor again over the last set and a half as well. France leading by 2. Ace serve. Boy, Kevin Leroux has been fantastic, as has been the entire French team. Timeout called by Brazil. The lead is 2-1 and 20-17. Leroux back to serve once again. Lucarelli is rejected. France now is in complete control. Blocked by Antonin Roussier on the outside, and now a 21-17 lead. And Brazil on their last hopes, and look at the serving from Kevin Roussier. Another timeout called by Brazil. France is going to pull off the upset. Wow, what a beginning to the World League Finals in Rio. Brazil came in. Yes, France has been playing very well. Bernardinho, their coach, told me that he was really concerned about this match. But boy, France has been absolutely superb. Leroux to serve once again. Off the top of the tape and down. A little bit of lucky here, and everything going France's way. And remember, this is the 21st meeting all time in the World League between Brazil and France. France has only won 4 times out of those 20 previous meetings. Today's going to be their 5th. And what pressure this will put on Brazil for tomorrow against the defending champions from the United States. Lucarelli off the net and down. France is running away with this. 7 match points now for France in a huge upset. Leroux once again. He has been magnificent, especially from the service line. And he misses that one, of course, just as I say how good he's been. Thanks a lot, Kevin. But it doesn't matter. France is going to win this match. And given the scenario, in Rio, in the building that is going to host the Olympic Games in a little more than a year, Brazil coming in as the number 1 team in the world, France the number 12 team. France wasn't even in Group 1. They won Group 2. They were playing exceptional volleyball, and they have come in to Rio and are pulling off a huge upset. Match point number 2. On the overpass, it's going to take another look. The lead is still 24-19. Lots of room for error for France. Antonin Roussier, along with Irvin Ngapeth, have been tremendous, but Laurent Tilly, the coach of France, not going to take any chances and uses one of his 2 remaining timeouts. But as you can see plainly, still a big lead for France. It'll be their 3rd match point. Well, the celebration's already going on along the sideline, and I think with good reason. Wonderful team effort. Roussier, Ngapeth, Toniuti, Le Goff, Leroux, and now France needs just one more. Isaac has got to keep this ball in, obviously, or the match is over. But they're down by so much, you got to serve tough. Roussier off the block and out of bounds. And France has pulled off a huge upset, 3-1.
I'll do a little
So congratulations to France. They beat Brazil 3-1. They will have tomorrow off. I'm going to step off this microphone and head courtside and have a conversation with Kevin Tilly, the coach's son, as France, with good reason, celebrates a huge 3-1 victory. I'll be right back with Kevin Tilly in just a moment.